consideration is recorded for us in the book of Isaiah, chapter 11, beginning with the first verse. A shoot will come up from the stump of Jesse. From his roots a branch will bear fruit. The Spirit of the Lord will rest on him, the Spirit of wisdom and of understanding, the Spirit of counsel and of power, the Spirit of knowledge and the fear of the Lord. And he will delight in the fear of the Lord. He will not judge by what he sees with his eyes or decide by what he hears with his ears, but with righteousness he will judge the needy. With justice he will give decisions for the poor of the earth. He will strike the earth with the rod of his mouth. With the breath of his lips he will slay the wicked. Righteousness will be his belt, and faithfulness the sash around his waist. The wolf will live with the lamb, the leopard will lie down with the goat, the calf and the lion and the yearling together, and the little child will lead them. The cow will feed with the bear, the young will lie down together, and the lion will eat straw like the ox. The infant will play near the hole of the cobra, and the young child put his hand into the viper's nest. They will neither harm nor destroy on all my holy mountains, for the earth will be full of the knowledge of the Lord, as the waters cover the sea. In that day the root of Jesse will stand as a banner for the peoples. The nations will rally to him, and his place of rest will be glorious. This is the word of the Lord. Do you like waiting? Do you enjoy that? Sitting, waiting, being trapped with nothing you can do but slowly watch the moments, the minutes, the hours go by. Is that fun waiting in a hospital room to hear any kind of news? Is that fun waiting when you're tired, when you are exhausted, when you are totally worn out? I have to confess this to you. I don't like waiting. Not really. And we all can be impatient about things which matter and some things that we know really don't matter. Before I was assigned out here to God's country, Avita Springs, Louisiana, I lived in California. And while I was in California, my new bride and I decided we would go to Disneyland. Because after all, the closest place we can go to do that is out in Florida. And we found out that there was a Louisiana-style restaurant that existed within the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. So we looked to get reservations. And then we realized that we didn't wait long enough to do that unless we wanted to eat a very expensive meal at 3 in the afternoon. But we decided to do that anyway. While we were there, we were starving by that point, so we just decided, well, maybe if we wait here by the restaurant, someone will have canceled a reservation, we'll be able to sneak in a little bit early. Those moments waiting took forever, and it felt like it was almost a bad idea at times. You know, in all, for those minutes that felt like an eternity, I don't think we were there more than 6 minutes waiting. We got in 2 hours earlier than we should. And it was a nice reminder that while I don't enjoy waiting, there are in fact things well worth the wait. And if you're ever there, honestly, the restaurant, from what I remember before I got to eat out here, wasn't half bad. So if you're there, highly recommend it. We have to wait for things that are good, not only from the Walt Disney Corporation, but we have to wait for things from our God as well. God's kingdom, it's worth the wait. And I don't want to sell that short in any way, shape, or form. But it can be hard waiting for God's kingdom to come. It can be hard waiting for God to deliver his people in hardship. It can be frustrating waiting and waiting and waiting. These words were written about 700 years before Christ was born. Imagine that wait when this audience originally heard about the coming Emmanuel, the Lord who would be with God's people. 700 years. Later on in Isaiah, you see God promised restoration for his people from Babylon. Well, they weren't even captured by Babylon yet. These words must have sounded so crazy to its original hearers. And yet as people waited, as they grew more impatient, as they let their doubts grow and grow, as they let their doubt build, what happened? God still kept his promises. It looked like he wouldn't have, because a nation called Babylon came in and destroyed their capital. It looked like everything God promised would not come true. But then, just as Isaiah predicted, a man named Cyrus would bring the captives back to Jerusalem. And now that they're there, what do they do in 516 AD? They wait. They wait 516 years for God's kingdom to come, for God's word to come true, and Jesus' birth there in Bethlehem. Imagine how long of a wait that is. Have you ever had to wait for something for a year? You know it's something you're looking forward to. Maybe you're thinking of your senior year in high school. You know what's going to come in May. You're going to get your high school diploma. But those months, especially January and February, they seem like they last forever. When you wait for an appointment that's very important, it seems like you're never going to make it to when you need to be ready there for treatment. Waiting is very hard. And yet the wait was worth it. Because Emmanuel, Jesus Christ, would come to God's people. He would be the substitute for you and for me that we so desperately need. Because he sees sinful you, he sees sinful me, he hears our sinful words, he sees our sinful thoughts, he sees the evil we have done, he sees the good we have failed to do. He takes note of every place where we have messed up. And yet he still sends Jesus to clean up that mess which we would make. He sends Jesus to take on the punishment this world deserves on his own shoulders. He keeps his promise in his own time. Now that involved a lot of waiting still after Jesus was born. Think of how difficult that must have been for Mary to have the words of Isaiah that the Messiah would be stricken, smitten, and afflicted. To ponder everything God promised about this child of hers who was no ordinary baby. And then as she would wait to see him rejected, to see him suffer, still to see him conquer death, to see him prove that God keeps his promises, to see God give power to that promise that he will bring us to a kingdom far greater than these great United States of ours. A kingdom where war will be ancient history. A kingdom where we will have no need or want. A kingdom where we will be perfectly preserved and protected. God's kingdom is worth the wait. Because when we get to that heavenly goal, we are totally free. We're free from the danger that really our sins deserve. And you just consider that in the last verses I read. You see this picture of the peace and restoration that the Messiah will bring. And what does it look like? It looks like a little baby playing by a viper pit and not getting bit. It looks like carnivores, some of the greatest hunters God had ever created, eating hay, because there's no more danger from them presented anymore. It looks like everything which could bring us fear and harm. Well, all those things have been turned peaceful and friendly. We wait. Yet while we wait, we look forward to that freedom from pain which we will enjoy. Not only that, we look forward to justice. A justice that is totally unearned. Because after all, if God were 100% fair, would we get into this kingdom God will bring? Of course not. If God were 100% fair, we would be locked out from our own sins, our own mistakes, our own failures. Yet God in love sent his Son to accept the justice for our mistakes, to wipe the slate and make us totally clean in the sight of God. You don't have to be afraid about when that kingdom comes, whether Jesus returns again in all of his glory or whether God calls you to him in heaven. You don't need to be worried about the mistakes that you have made. You don't need to be worried and ask yourself, have I done enough good? Have I been a great person? Have I wasted my life? Because with God's justice comes your defense attorney, Jesus Christ, who is there to present the evidence. No, not your sins. He presents the evidence of the manger, of the perfect life, of the holes in his hands and his feet, those scars that testify to the fact that God won't punish us. Jesus took that punishment already for us. The justice that comes from God, that can be a scary thing if you picture the 10 Commandments and the lightning and Mount Sinai. Yet when God's kingdom comes, that's a day of deliverance for his people. A day when God says you are ready because Jesus has made you ready. Made ready as you were washed in the waters of baptism. Confirmed ready as God spoke to you in his word. Made ready and nourished as he fed you in his holy supper. That doesn't mean death isn't a scary thing. And I would be lying to you if I said I didn't have any fears about what would happen if God were to call me home tonight. But at the end of the day, I also don't need to be afraid. And no one here needs to be afraid either. Because for you, the best is yet to come. For you is that peace, reunited with all the saints in glory. For you is that peace where you will be totally free from danger, away from anything that can bring you harm. Fellow redeemed, rejoice. God's kingdom is come, and that kingdom is worth the wait.